Hello there. So today I'm gonna warm up a little bit my legato chops. Hopefully we'll get some legato going. We'll see about that. It has to be a good day for it to work. But either way, we're going to discuss what you can do to improve your legato and practice your legato, and how to make your playing actually sound legato. Even if you're playing all the correct techniques, you might still not get that smooth flow, which is so characteristic to legato. So we're going to try to speak about all of that today. It'll be a lot of fun. Join me. Skank Hunter, you're a doll. I like it. You should be a doll. We should all be dolls. John, yeah, I would eat your profile picture. It looks like a good banana. I wouldn't mind. So the number one mistake I see people do, including myself, is to actually practice and warm up and play legato too fast. And there are many reasons why you would not want to do that. And something that's specific to legato is that, when you're playing at a faster tempo, you don't have all these control mechanisms to, make sure your hands are in sync and you're not getting unwanted string noise and all that. And for legato, it's especially important to think about the notes being even, right? It's very common to see people pick 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 6 notes with legato, and that picked note is much louder than all the other notes. That's one of the best ways to ruin your legato runs and make it sound more like, the 80s kind of, that kind of thing, right? We don't really want that. We want the, without noise. We want all the notes to have an even flow, and I really gotta warm up. I gotta sleep, but I love you. Thank you, Skank. It's mutual. Cool boy. Hello there. So now I'm gonna try to warm up a little bit and see if I can play notes of even volume, basically. Just see that the stream is working. YouTube has some issues with the stream. Okay. Wonder what that could be. Greetings from Indonesia. What's up? Hello there. I don't know Freebird or Weezer. Sorry. Freebird is like lots of these kind of classic blues rock licks, I think. Franklin, I'm doing okay, yeah, but I'm a bit pissed off. My legato doesn't sound smoother, but that's why we're here, to improve our legato, so that should be a good thing. Hey man, I'm learning myself not to electric though, but acoustic. Can you possibly know nothing hard, but can you possibly do a quick walkthrough of Smoke on the Water? Ooh. Smoke on the Water. So we're going to play the D and the G string. I like how this went from legato to Smoke on the Water, but why not? We're warming up now. So D and the G string, the two middle strings, we're going to target them. And I target them with my right-hand fingers like that. That's also something I use for legato quite a bit, by the way, hybrid picking. But I'm targeting these two middle strings, and I'm playing the two open strings, and then I'm playing 3 and then 5, okay? So in order to accomplish that, we're going to have to play two strings at the same time, meaning we're going to do a mini bar chord. And then we flatten our finger on the 3rd fret, right next to the fret wire. This is kind of a pro tip, but that's going to help you further down the line if you develop the habit of always fretting close to the upper fret wire. So we have 0, we have 3, and we have 5, okay? And when you play the 3 and the 5, you want to be as close to the top fret wire as humanly possible without being on top of it, right? So just close to it. Now, you might find it easier in the beginning to just strum those two strings, though it can be a little bit challenging not to hit too many strings. So if you want to kind of pinch them instead, that's fine. You can use the thumb and the ring finger or something like that, thumb and middle finger, and just through a pinch movement grab them. Like I said, I just use this hybrid picking movement. And then you're going to be playing 1, 3, 5, okay? Next one is 1, 3, 6, 5. And then we repeat 0, 3, 5. I'm just going to take this from the beginning because I messed up. So it's O, that's the 0, right? 0, 3, 5. Then we have 0, 3, 6, 5. Then we have 0, 3, 5 again. And we're going to end with 3, 0 or 3, 0, whatever you want to call it. So the whole thing, if we put it together slowly, goes like this. Something like that. I haven't heard the original for a long time. But I like to have, I don't know if the original has these kind of pauses, right? But I like to do, really make sure there's a little bit of silence there. Just a little bit more articulate, but what you want to do if you want to play exactly like the original is listen to the record and try to play with it. And that's something I haven't done for like 20 or 30 years because I don't play covers anymore. But this one I happen to remember it, so because you asked, you got it. Okay, so man, what that mouth do, bro? What is the total price you are playing now, sir? Total price? You mean like the cost of the equipment, or? So this is someone asked LTD MH1000. I've been playing guitar for around 30 years. I did not go to music school. I just had 1 year of private tuition. This man is unstoppable. So I'm going to warm up a little bit more and see if I can get a bit of better flow here. So I try to dial in a more kind of tight, compressed kind of tone. I always try to do like a new tone for every session just because I have to challenge myself. So I'm not 100% sure what I think about this tone, but it's different, so it's interesting. Zebrafish, do you ever burned out of playing? I stopped loving playing after teaching daily for a decade. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, there's a real risk of that happening. Basically, there's a risk of when you play to the point that you no longer appreciate the fun of playing. You just do it because you feel that you have to. Now, whether that be because you've made it your job or whether it's just because you're forcing yourself to practice as much as possible, doesn't really matter. The issue is pretty much the same. How I go about that is to try to never play while being uninspired. And so like what I'm doing now is I'm doing a session every day, like this one. And I like it because I've always wanted to be more active on social media regularly through these streams. And just because, otherwise I get too carried away with producing other content, which is cool, but it's not the direct content where I get, speak to you guys and get a direct contact. Now that poses a new challenge, because if I want to live stream on a daily basis, I need to be inspired on a daily basis, because I don't want to sit here and not be inspired. So in order to do that, I have to prepare myself for every session so that it feels fresh to me. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just repeating myself for you guys. So immediately when this session is over, I'm going to start preparing mentally for the next session. And the important part here is to find something new I want to do. So maybe this evening I'm going to practice a specific technique, or I'm going to practice something that is fresh and new to me. And usually what I practice in the evening is not what I play the day after, because it takes a much longer time than that. But just the fact that I expose myself to something new, it gives me new energy for the next day. And also, like I said, I dial in a new sound for every session. That is also related to keeping my mind fresh. Because like I said, if I don't feel like I like my own playing, I'm going to feel that you're not going to like it either. And when that happens, I can no longer, convey an inspired impression. So that is always the challenge. Now, it's a bit of a complex thing, because even if I am inspired, I will sometimes be pissed off because I can't really play the way I want to, like the first 30 minutes of the stream. And it does take time to warm up, and not only warming up your fingers, but kind of freeing your mind and stop thinking about, does the streamer software work? Why is YouTube giving me a warning about my internet connection? Who is saying what? Are there any people? Those kind of thoughts. You need to get rid of those and just kind of dive into the playing and to the teaching and communicating with you guys. And when that happens, the session becomes good. So not only do I have to kind of work on like a long-term strategy for remaining inspired, but there's also a short-term strategy on a daily basis, whether that be like in the stream or, if you're recording something else. So all that has to kind of work together for you to continually be inspired. And it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you fail, and then you got to have some kind of backup strategy. And in my case, I like to... if I know that I have to, or if I feel that I still want to do a live stream, then maybe I'll cover some sound or gear or something else that isn't as playing related, just to give myself a break. But it's okay, if things go up and down, and you sometimes not feel as inspired, because it's also the up and down that kind of gives you the kicks, right? There is no up if you haven't really had a down, right? If it's constantly up, you're going to get bored by that as well. And, it doesn't work that way. You're going to have to somewhat live with this cycle of down and up. And as you get to know yourself, you get better at kind of stopping the downfalls from being so bad. And that might have the effect of the upward part not feeling as cool, but it's still a way of gaining somewhat control of this. But I think a lot of times it's enough to be aware of this phenomenon to sort of deal with it in a more constructive way. Because if you're not aware of it, it's going to hit you in the face like a shock, like, oh, what's wrong? Why do I feel so bad? But if you know that always comes and your job is just to stick through it, then I think it gets easier to actually stick through it. That's a long reply there. I hope it makes sense. Okay, so... Dust in the Wind, sorry, don't know it. Okay, Bryden, you thought smoke on water explanation was helpful. Thank you. Tim Henson, yeah, he's awesome. Wish I could play his stuff. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna have different strategy for warming up my shops now, so we can get to speaking about today's topic. And I think this is some harmonic minor here. I'm gonna turn up the reverb a little bit so we don't get as much of a clash between my dry sound and the backing track. See if that improves it. Yeah, big difference, right? Jordan, let's try some lower notes. Cool. So we're just warming up now, trying to get some shots so I can actually show you something cool. And here's a pretty cool backing track. It's from the Latin jam room we have on the GMC side. So let's try in C minor here. So if you want to follow along, you can play on the 8th fret here, C minor pentatonic, works really well. Thank you, Jordan. And Fly on the Wall. Thanks so much, man. Can you pull from the left M to the right? So I'm going to do a slide. I think that's what you're referring to. Is that what you're referring to? So the backing track I'm using is from the Jam Room Latin, and parts of it are paid content. But you can, the first backing track I played is free, and you can access many more free. So, and it's not even like a registration or something. So if you want to try it out, I pasted it. Good observation there, Jordan. I use a lot of hybrid picking, and the reason why people think it's hard, while it shouldn't be that hard, because if you think about it, when I'm playing something fast with hybrid picking, I'm not very fast with my right hand. Check this out. The fast part is the left hand, right? This is the hand that's doing the work. This one, the right hand is just following along. But the problem is that people pick like this with a big wrist movement. And if you do that, when you pick down, you're also transporting your hybrid fingers away from the string. So you're gonna have to move your hand back in hybrid pick, and that feels very difficult. So the solution to this is to just use your thumb joint movement for hybrid picking, okay? So if you do that, you can keep these fingers on the strings you intend to target. So you pick and you hybrid pick, hybrid pick. So as you can tell, I'm not doing any big wrist movements here. I'm just doing a very small picking movement, and that allows me to pre-position pretty much my hybrid fingers so they're ready to strike. So it's all down to this wrist movement. If you can get rid of that and only move the thumb joint, you're good to go. Okay, finally we start getting some legato there. This is what I was waiting for. I didn't really feel warmed up. Yet I had been playing for 1.5 hours, but I've been setting up the camera, and the camera is still very new to me, so I'm kind of experimenting a bit, and the sound and everything, so Oh, free fingerstyle guitar, thanks so much, man. So this is just picking, right? I'm picking now, most of the notes. But with legato, I get a smoother flow. So, Jordan, more hammer-ons and pull-offs, right? So what am I actually doing when legatoing? And definitely the techniques we're going to use on the guitar are hammer-ons and pull-offs. But they are not equal to legato. Legato means a steady flow of notes that kind of tie together in a smooth way. So the opposite would be here you have tick, 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 right? With legato, we get more. A little bit smoother than. Not in a picking mood now, but. So, to accomplish that smooth flow on the guitar, we're gonna be using hammer-ons and pull-offs. That's a very good observation right there. So, Emmanuel, I've been playing for 30 years. I would say you're gonna have to devote like around 10 years to start feeling like you've reached a high level. It can be shorter as well, or much, much longer as well. It's all about how dedicated you are when practicing and how like inspired you are to play on a daily basis. Okay, so let's do G minor now. And it's interesting because if you're kind of relying on the first position of your pentatonic scale, we're now going to move from the 8th fret all the way up to the 15th fret or to the 3rd fret. So quite a big jump there. And that's going to affect your legato as well, because down here, your stretches are going to be more substantial here. more up here. So the biggest reason why I prefer legato playing is because how much easier it is to be a little bit more spontaneous in your playing, whether it be in your slow or fast runs. It's just a simple fact that if you're trying to both synchronize your right and left hand, which is needed for picking, right, and use the other part of your brain to come up with something fresh, well, guess what? You're going to have less brain power for the second part. So if you can skip one hand and remove that out of the equation, you get more brain power for thinking about what's going to come next. You know, that's the simple truth of it. So if you can skip a couple of pick strikes, you have more brain over for the musical part. John, yes, I did study music theory. I took 1 year of private tuition and I learned all the modes and understood like 3 and 4 note arpeggios. And that was about it. Then I kept learning on my own theory and even more importantly, like more practical playing stuff. So Yngwie is an interesting example there. Yngwie does improvise quite a bit, but he's also pretty proficient with legato. But his improvised runs often revolve around these, you know, that kind of thing where you just go up and down. And then it's a little easier to include picking. If you're either going like up and down on one string or up and down on many strings, it's still just up and down. The problem arises when you want to really throw, you know, constantly change direction. So, I mean, if you do more unpredictable runs, like I did there, I was like string skipping up and then go down, up, down, do string skipping, move along with unpredictable patterns, then you can't really rely on Yngwie's approach anymore for that kind of thing, right? So you're gonna have to I messed up a little bit there, but there you have an example of how if you use a more versatile technique, you can be a little bit more unpredictable in your runs. That doesn't mean it sounds good though, it's just one part of the equation. That kind of thing wouldn't really be possible with the Yngwie moused in 3 note per string thing. It would be more like so yeah. Mary Joy, I don't remember you, remind me. The first time I went live, you were a second. That's amazing. Was it this summer? So maybe the first time on YouTube this summer. So I'm in G minor now, if you want to tune in. Pentatonic is going to work really well. You can play them down here. Sweeping, here you have it, Jordan. John, which scale is easy to learn for a beginner? Good question there. So for a lot of these tracks, I'm relying on the pentatonic scale as my kind of primary tool for just improvising. Now, these backing tracks have a bit of an harmonic minor emphasis. You don't really have to care about that as a beginner. Let's try just with the pentatonic scale and see how that works, because that's the easiest kind of box to memorize and learn as a beginner. So strictly pentatonics now, not one note outside, but I am bending a little bit. Oh, sorry, one note outside there. So as you can see, it works really well, and it's just this basic shape, right, we're playing. So it's like 6, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3. Super simple. And we move it up all the way to the 15th fret instead. We can play the same intervals. We can try it up there as well. Still strictly pentatonics, and you can see how nicely it works. Even though this isn't even like a blues rock track or anything like that, it's more Latin inspired, but we can still rely on the minor pentatonic because such a collection of cool, actually just 5 notes you're playing out of the 12 notes available on the guitar. Smells Like Teen Spirit. So there's the transposed Latin version of Smells Like Teen Spirit, which everybody needs. Tempo is not that bad, but timing is. Okay, mid-range to play jazz and rock. Well, I think that I usually recommend a Strat style guitar for people asking about that, simply because you can find really good ones for cheap money and they're super versatile. And if you find that one that you like with looks and feel, it's very simple and not that expensive to maybe upgrade one or two of the pickups and you can get totally different sounds. So Strat style guitars, cool to start with. If you know that you're going to be playing metal, maybe choose a different guitar. But even with metal, you can put in like a hot rails or like single coil sized humbucker and you get a very cool metal guitar. So it works for everything. I don't know the rapper Big The Plug. Sorry, man. Pretty cool. So let's see if we can find some other backing track here. No facial expression. Sorry, that's going to be very boring. It can be done, but that's pretty much a guarantee that focus is no longer on the music. But we can try. Okay, no facial expression. You can count the seconds for me to fail. I think I failed there. Matthew Joseph, this one's for you. stare into the camera. That's even worse if I stare into the camera and do faces. You're gonna see the faces up close. Let's try it. So all focus goes on my face and nothing on playing. Actually, it's a good way to kind of check whether you're feeling it when you're playing. If you try to not make any faces and then record yourself, and you're still making faces, then you're into it. I'm not playing through the mic. This is for speaking. I'm using what's it called? The more radar. So I'm plugging into the camera. So you're not hearing any microphone in the room. You're hearing like a cabinet plus microphone simulation, which is done by the radar. Yeah, it's hard not to play without faces, and let's face it, a lot of us guitarists are kind of ugly when we're doing faces, but if it means that the music is okay, or if it's good, then I'm fine with that. If the faces coincided with really bad performance, then it would be horrendous, right? But usually the faces come when you're digging into it, and usually that sounds good. I don't know what A-Full 65 is, sorry man. So I don't have a microphone in front of the amp. I have this little pedal, which is called, can you even see it? I don't think you can, which is called radar, and that pedal receives the signal coming from the out, what's it called? Basically it's the preamp. No, wait, let me see. Yeah, it's the output of the preamp from the amp goes into this pedal. And then that pedal simulates a cab, and if you want a power amp as well, and a microphone. So there is no microphone, it's just a cable from my amp to this pedal, which is called radar, and then a cable from the pedal straight into the camera. That's what you're hearing. So no microphone in the room. The only microphone you're hearing is this, and that's for my spoken stuff. So you might be wondering how I'm hearing the backing track as well, and that's also coming from the computer straight to the camera. We'll see if my neck recovers after that. So Kinder Egg, that's a good question. I don't have a favorite song to play because I don't play any songs anymore. I haven't done that for 20 years. The reason I'm still inspired to play the guitar is simply because I can do whatever I want on it, and I don't have to play someone else's songs. It's a very free kind of feeling, and that's all I'm going for. Sometimes I write my own things, But I don't play other people's songs anymore, and it's a very nice feeling. So Nicky Williams, let me know if it makes sense, my explanation there. Cosmos, most genuine answer. Yeah, I try. So the guitar is an LTD MH1000. I don't know any Muse, sorry. Yeah, what I've heard from them is pretty cool. Yeah, very fresh and original. It's like a mix of progressive pop and rock and even some shreds. Pretty cool. What is the best thing to learn as an intermediate player? In your opinion, asking for a friend. I like it. Okay, so this is an interesting question. For an intermediate player, the answer can vary a lot. If a beginner is asking, it's usually easier because as a beginner, you should just play whatever you feel like so you don't put the guitar down. You know, that's the best recipe. Let's pause the backing track here. But if you're an intermediate player, it could be a number of things that you need. Some intermediate players are stuck playing the same, or like the songs or the riffs or the licks they know, and they play them all the time because it's such a rewarding feeling to not be a beginner anymore. And usually what happens after a couple of months is like, yeah, I feel stuck in a rut. Why? Well, you're only playing the same things. You get really good at those 5 riffs, and everything else feels even worse when you're trying to play them because the difference between the stuff you master and the stuff you don't grows every day you're playing the same riffs, right? So it feels absolutely horrendous to go back and be a beginner again. But that's what you have to do as an intermediate player. And for some people who want to get into lead playing, that could be getting into some exercises to start mastering some scales and some licks and runs. For other people, it's just a matter of learning new songs, new material, which are not part of the 5 songs you already know. I'm just, generalizing here. But I have to give you a general answer because I don't know you, I don't know you personally, what you're into and what exact intermediate level and your musical preferences. But on a general level, this is what I think a lot of intermediate players are struggling with, getting outside of their comfort zone. Because inside of the comfort zone is where they feel almost like a pro. But as soon as they venture out, they feel like beginners again. And that's a horrible feeling. So they stay within their comfort zone and they never make any progress. So that would be my attempt at a general answer to the question. So Cosmos, yeah, I would say I have a decent grasp of theory, the theory I need and want. For a lot of these rock and backing tracks, such as this one, I can stick to one key and it gets easier. So here, for example, I'm playing in B minor all the time. And that is easier than if there are changes, right? All I need to do is find different ways to memorize the B minor scale all across the fretboard. Random guy, I am from Sweden. Är du också svensk? Vad trevligt i sådana fall. Välkommen till streamen. Okay, Nick Williams. Well, if you want to get to where I am, then I need to say that I am available for Zoom lessons if you want that. So if you want to get into my style, that's probably the best value you're going to get right there. But there's an incredible amount of knowledge just out there. So if you know what to search for, you can definitely do a lot of learning on your own. There are some things you should be aware of. If you are learning on your own, it's a very good idea to record yourself. to listen back on your own. You don't have to share it with others. If you dare to share, that's even better. You might get some haters, but what you don't realize is that haters can actually be helpful. They can make you feel bad. But if you get a lot of people saying the same thing and no one saying against it, then it might be they're onto something. Like, your vibrato is crap. Well, maybe it is crap. For a lot of people, vibrato is not prioritized. Or maybe they're saying it sounds out of tune. Well, for a lot of people, intonation is an issue. You know, you might have intonated your guitar when the strings were new, and they're no longer new, and it sounds like crap when you're playing up here. I changed my string today on this guitar, actually. So that would be a very good way to move forward, just by picking different influences and trying to improve. And you can, of course, use all the content I'm uploading here in terms of shorts and even longer videos. Whoa! That sounded really bad. Thank you, someone. Awesome improv. Thank you so much. Ice Metal, good to see you too. Okay, your son is 10 years old and recently picked up playing, but I want to keep it fun for him. Any advice? So my advice would be to not actually tell him to play anything. Just let the guitar be there and inspire him through performances. You know, maybe you go to some concert or just show him cool stuff with guitar. That would be my advice. Let him pick up the guitar when he wants to. And if you want him to pick it up often, don't tell him to do it. Just show him cool guitar stuff and he will eventually pick it up. It can take another 1 or 2 years, but then he's gonna play for real. I've seen so many parents, you know, I'm also a parent, so I've seen it from a very close distance, who are like, yeah, take the guitar, play it. And it's like, has the opposite effect. So, you know, I have 2 daughters and I don't want them to play guitar. I mean, if they pick it up, that's fine. They're really interested in music and that makes me happy because then we can listen to music. But I'm not a big fan of, like, you know, giving the guitar. It can be there, you can give them access to a guitar and make it easy for them to plug in and play. But if they don't pick it up for a year on their own, that's fine, you know. But if they do watch a cool performance and like, oh, I'd like to play that, and then you can help them a little bit. But it has to come from the kid, I think, not from the parent. Some Hendrix. Oh, what would that be? Ice Metal, shoot your question. That kind of stuff isn't very Hendrix sounding, but it is comes from Hendrix for sure. I'm really tired of this backing track. there is no simple answer to the getting a good quality like this, Nick Williams. It's like 3 or 4 different components that work together. I think the easiest option to come close is actually to have just an iPhone and have it very close to your amp. Then you can get a pretty good sound quality. That's easy. This is a complex setup. That's why I'm struggling with the setup for 1 hour before even starting these streams. I hope I'm going to get a better routine, because it's not really sustainable to work that long on maintaining a setup. But I realize there's a bit of practice going into it. I used to do these advanced streams like a couple of years ago when I had a good camera, but then it broke, and now I finally invested in a new camera. Now I need to get the routine, because it's a lot of work just getting good quality. Oh, that's quite some noise right there. Yeah, exactly. With the iPhone, you get the better quality the less of the room you capture. So if you can angle, especially the microphone of the iPhone, to your amp, and it's not a very angled mic, so you're going to have to place it closely, then you get less of the room sound. The room sound is what sounds like shit. And what you're hearing now is zero of the room. Not even this microphone catches much of the room, because I'm so close to it. And there is no recording of the room, and that makes it sound much better. Instead, you're going to get the problem of a very dry guitar tone, so you're going to have to play with a bit of reverb to make it sound not too dry. Okay, guys, cool. So this was a really nice session. I want to thank you for your patience. I'm still trying to get into these with a bit more dedication. Right now, I'm spending a lot of time just having the equipment play together. I hope to get some routine going, I think in maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And then I'll be solely focused on the actual stream with my playing and more prepared sessions. So we're all looking forward to that. But until then, I want to thank you for sticking around anyway, because you guys are the best. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for all the cool questions. You've been amazing. I've been Chris Vidal. Have a good one. See ya. Cheers.